What's up? Welcome into the Around the Felt Sports Podcast. My name is Reagan. I'm here with my co-host Colin, and we're
What's
going to
going
be
on?
breaking down the Los Angeles Chargers and what we think they will do in this 2025 NFL season. Hey, and guess what? We get to see them play Thursday as well.
Yes, we
Exciting
do.
stuff.
Football's right there, baby. It's right there.
Exciting stuff. We'll be releasing this on Tuesday night when you're watching it, really giving you all that insight, all that insight that everyone needs to know before that crucial game to start the season. Now, it kind of sucks that, that all the backups play, but I
Yeah,
saw what Hendon Hooker versus, what is it? Easton Stick, I think was
nice. That's a
what
good
it's going to be.
quarterback. We will not be breaking down the Hall of Fame game in this episode. We will be breaking down the entire 2025 NFL season for these Chargers, coming off a big bounce back season with the first year under Jim Harbaugh, an 11-6 record. They did get their ass kicked by Houston, 32-12 in the wild card round, though. And Herbert had his worst game of the season by far, throwing 4 picks, going 14-32. I mean, I think he had like less than 4 picks all year before that. He had 3 picks. So insane turn of events there in that game against Houston. Some key additions to this team. Mekhi Becton slated in to start at right guard to already bolster a great offensive line. Dante Jackson, Najee Harris, and Omarion Hampton, the new running back duo for Jim Harbaugh. You know he wants to run the football, him and Greg Roman. Trey Harris at receiver out of Ole Miss in the draft. Big fan of Trey Harris, as we'll get into shortly. Some losses. Joey Bosa, a staple of this team, although a lot of injuries for a very long time. Josh Palmer at receiver and corner Christian Fulton out the door. With all that being said, Reagan, do the Chargers have repeat success in 2025 and go back to the playoffs?
Also, Easton Stick is off the roster, so let me just put that on the record. They do have Taylor Heineke and Trey Lance and DJ Ugalele.
Ooh. Oh, let's
So
see some
or
Trey
Ugala.
Lance.
So I think we might not see Heineke either because we might see a Trey Lance Hendon Hooker showdown. So that actually is kind of interesting.
I like it.
I want to see Trey. I want to see Trey Lance.
That's
Poor
high
guy.
quality for preseason football.
Yeah. He'll probably have like 4 picks and 4 touchdowns. It's going to be a crazy show. But anyway, I have the Chargers going 10-7 and taking the final wild card spot in the AFC, getting the 7th seed. So I guess I have them taking a step back technically, but I still think this will be a playoff team. I just like some other teams more. But, I'm really excited with what they did with this offense in the offseason. I mean, like you highlighted already, bringing in Becton. We saw he rejuvenated his team or rejuvenated himself. I mean, and to pair him with, 3 other first-round picks in Zion Johnson, Rashawn Slater, and Joe Alt. I mean, so, a lot of capital invested in this offensive line.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what Hampton can do. They bring in Najee. What I think Najee will be fine. I mean, that whole firework thing seems weird. I know he's on the pup now.
Yeah, he should be fine, though, I think they said.
But very odd. I mean, even the wide receiver room, is a lot better. If Quinton Johnston can just learn how to catch, I think he could be very good. I remember, back when I was a way bigger gambler, I remember, he really, really screwed me over because it was a primetime game where I think he dropped 3 or 4 crossing routes in a row. And I was like, dude, I need 15 yards. And he just kept dropping them. I'm he's so open too. The guy is good. He's a pretty good route runner. He just terrible hands. But anyway, I mean, Lad McConkey obviously had an insane season. I mean, a lot of people are high on him. I've seen in fantasy drafts, he's going close to the end of the first round. I mean, early second in most leagues and underdog as well. So a lot of people are really high on him and what he can do. I'm super high on Trey Harris, the rookie out of Ole Miss. I mean, I'm ecstatic. I think he's gonna, make a nice little duo with McConkey and even the tight ends. Disley and Conklin, definitely are both some guys that are better receiving options. I mean, Disley, obviously, last year we saw him have an okay season, and Conklin had some decent years with Minnesota and some flashes with the Jets. So, 10-7, but I like the offense they're starting to put around Herbert. I think he can have some success. I'm not taking him to win MVP, but I do think there's a chance he could this year. Definitely think it's worth
Jay
a
Herbs?
sprinkle. I think it's worth a sprinkle.
Jay Herbs is like that, dude. I mean, last year, Herbert was an absolute stud. He had I mean, not a ton of passing yards. He only had 3,800. It was his career low in yards per game, but he had 23 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Also, career high 306 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, which was good to see, especially for fantasy purposes. So I love Justin Herbert. I think he's a stud. As Jim Harbaugh says, his biggest problem is everyone else needs to get on his level. Harbaugh gets up every morning like, how can I be as good as Justin Herbert today? Which, I mean, have you seen the sideline videos of Harbaugh hyping up Herbert, like treating him like Superman? I mean, he loves his quarterback. And honestly, with the success that he had in year one with Herbert, did you see the rumors that the Browns want Saban to pair with a top quarterback, Arch Manning, next year? And they're like, come out of retirement if he has a Harbaugh-like situation where he can join an elite quarterback. Would be interesting. So Harbaugh might loop Saban back into coaching. But besides the point, I have the Chargers at 11-6 and taking home the AFC West crown.
Wow. Chargers fans are going to love you.
Yes, I do, man. I mean, I had just gushed about Justin Herbert. Kid is a stud. I love the offensive line. Joe Alt was 10th best in pressure rate allowed at right tackle as a rookie. I think he's going to be a stud this year. Rashawn Slater just got a massive extension, highest paid offensive lineman ever at left tackle. So you have 2 young bookends. You mentioned Mekhi Becton, a great addition. I love the offensive line. I think it's a top 7, 8 offensive line in football heading into 2025. The running back room, I mean, you had to be really excited with what you got from J.K. Dobbins last year, but I think Hampton and Najee should be an upgrade. Hampton should be really good in this offense. He had over 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns on 319 touches at UNC last year. That was without Drake May, so everyone knew he was getting the ball, and he was still dominant, and that's the reason he went in the first round to the Chargers. The wide receivers, I'm actually pretty bullish on him. I know, of course, McConkey's a stud. He had 761 yards from the slot, second best in the league last year. Over the final 10 games, he had 88 yards per game, which was 5th in the league over that stretch. So you see why he's getting pushed up fantasy draft boards. But we mentioned how much we love Trey Harris. I don't know if Ladd's target share is going to be as high this year. I would not take him in round 2. I think that's very risky. I think there's a lot. Yeah. There's going to be much better players in that range for fantasy purposes this year. But I understand the hype for sure. I think Quinton Johnston's going to be better this year. His 18% drop rate, as you mentioned, was garbage, Reagan. It was garbage. The guy can't catch the football. But I did see he was better last year than he was as a rookie, like significantly. He had over 700 yards compared to 431 as a rookie, 8 touchdowns compared to 2 as a rookie. So I think he'll continue to get better. I don't think he'll ever live up to where they took him in the draft to be an elite player by any stretch of the means. But the addition of Trey Harris is going to be awesome for this offense, and they need more pass catching help. When I was watching Jackson Dart after the Giants took him, had to watch Dart. I was like, holy shit, this Trey Harris dude is a baller. And if he was healthy all year last year, he would have gone earlier in the draft. That's for damn sure, because he just kept popping off the screen. He made some sick plays downfield. I think he's going to be, I don't think he'll be as good as McConkey as a rookie, but I think he's going to be really damn good and help this offense. Defensively, I'm slightly concerned. Like, I don't love the front. I know Khalil Mack's back, but he's going to be 35. He only had 6 sacks last year. The run defense wasn't great. Tuli Tuipulotu led the team with 8.5 sacks, clear-cut starter. Bud Dupree had 6. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot of aging players in the defensive line. The secondary is where they make their money. Of course, Derwin James elite. He had 5.5 sacks last year. Of course, he's a stud against the run. We know how hard he hits. Dante Jackson was not very good for Pitt last year, so don't love the addition. But, hey, they had the second best pass defense in terms of yards per attempt last year and 15 picks. So they forced turnovers. They were good with Harbaugh leading the defense. So I don't know, man. They got a middle-of-the-pack schedule this year. It is more difficult than last year, so a little bit of worries there. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just betting on Jim Harbaugh. The guy just wins, and I think Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback in this league in that 6-7 range. So with the offensive line being as good as it is, the upgrades on offense, and hopefully the defense, maybe if they take a slight step back, I still think it's good enough that they got a shot to take the crown from KC.
Well, and that's kind of why I like Herbert and was saying you could like sprinkle on him to win MVP because if the defense is taking a step back or not as great as we thought, that means they're going to be in more shootouts, which means his stats are just going to only go up. And I think they're going to let him throw the ball a lot more this year. Like while they
Yeah.
obviously brought in Najee to be a bruiser and you spend the first round pick on Hampton, it's clear they want to run the ball, but I do think that will open up a lot more passing attempts and passing yards. And you don't go out and get Trey Harris, when that makes 3 wide receivers in the past 3 years taken in the first 2 rounds. So obviously they're making the investment in him as a passer by bringing in all those guys.
I know this is not the best fit at this point because Lad's in the slot, but keep an eye on Keenan Allen potentially coming back to the Chargers and adding another boost. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but I've heard people throw that around a lot. But I find it hard to believe they would just with having all these young guys there. But I understand your point because it would be a nice boost at the end of the day, and he can teach the young guys something. I mean, it's
Yeah,
probably the youngest trio in the league, I would bet.
it has to
I
be,
mean,
right? I mean, Quinton
maybe,
Johnston, third year, is your oldest guy
yeah, I would think
from the
probably
top
the
three.
youngest trio.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably. And Keenan Allen did say last year during the season he's either going back to the Bears or going to the Chargers, but like clearly neither team has been super excited to add him to this point.
well,
So I
yeah,
don't know.
because
Just
yeah, I mean, because obviously the Bears went out and get Burden, and solidify their top 3, and I don't think he's. I mean, yeah, he's better than Quinton Johnston, but like Quinton Johnston is a completely different kind of wide receiver.
yeah, and yeah,
So,
of
and
course,
you want
yeah.
to really take Trey Harris or Lad McConkey off the field for a washed up Keenan Allen? No.
No, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think he's a solid player, but he had some big games for the Bears down the stretch last year.
This is true. This is true. But yeah, I mean, do you want to get into the MVPs?
Let's do it, man. Who's your MVP for the Chargers, and why is it Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I mean, it's the MVP one's always hard because it's just like, Herbert is going to be the best player. I mean, like I just said, he could win the MVP of the league, so it would be kind of crazy for me to not take him. But at the end of the day, I mean, this team goes as far as he does. We've seen, when he misses time, and obviously it's a different regime. But 2 years ago when he went down with injury and they shut him down, I mean, that was brutal. When they lost that game, but the Raiders put up 70 or whatever they put up, or like
Yeah,
60
dude.
something, against poor Easton Stick. So this team needs him, and he's going to be the driving force.
Yeah, he's the MVP. You said it all. Not much else for me to say. I mean, they just need him to start performing in the postseason. I know it's only been 2 games, but obviously blowing that lead to Jacksonville. Although I still die in this hill. Brandon Staley's an idiot, and then throwing 4 picks against Houston. You don't want to start getting that Stafford reputation, But he's got a lot more talent around him. I hope this is the year where he gets a playoff win. Who is your X factor for the 2025 Chargers?
Yeah, it's actually Tuipulotu. I know I'm saying it wrong, but 8.5 sacks last year is great, but he needs to take the next step up. We know Khalil Mack at this point is on the decline. He's not going to be that 15 sack guy in the season, so it's got to be Tuipulotu. He's got to step up, get to double digits, and really be a driving force. Somebody's got to do it. I mean, and playing in this tough division where you're going to be going against the Chiefs twice. I mean, the Raiders, we expect them to be better. I don't think they'll be a playoff team, but they're still going to be better. And, the Broncos are only going to continue to get better with their young team and their great defense. So you got to get after some of these tough quarterbacks. And if you want to win in the playoffs, you need to be able to rush the passer. So he needs to step up and be the X factor.
Yeah, I went with Trey Harris, man. I mean, the guy had 60 catches for 1,030 yards and 7 touchdowns in only 8 games last year as Jackson Dart's #1 target. This team needs a boost in the passing attack. Herbert's got to be over a 4,000-yard passer. Like when he was younger in his career, he was lighting the world on fire, throwing the ball across the yard with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. They need to get back to putting the ball more in Justin Herbert's hands. I understand wanting to run the football and playing good defense, and that's how Harbaugh wants to roll. But when you have an elite arm talent like Justin Herbert, you got to utilize it. And Trey Harris can be a huge benefactor of that in 2025. Who is your rookie of the year?
Yeah, my rookie of the year. I mean, you could go with 2 guys. It's it's either Hampton or Harris. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I'll go with Harris for this just because I've been a lot higher on him. I think Najee will still have a role and might kind of vulture some of those short yard, like touchdown red zone looks, which is going to piss a lot of Hampton owners off, where he'll probably have like, 2/3 of the snaps. But when you get down to the red zone, they might defer to Najee just because of his size. And, but
Not that he was dominant in the red zone for Pittsburgh either, but you'd think he should be given his size.
Yeah. So, but he also might be a benefactor of just a fresh start as well. But Trey, I'm going to go with Trey Harris. I've been getting his stock everywhere in underdog leagues, and I'm hoping to get him in most of my redraft leagues. I'm super excited of what he can do.
Yeah, I got a lot of Trey Harris stock in underdog as well. I did go the Hampton route here. Yeah, I do see your point though. Like Najee has had 1,000 yards in all 4 seasons, and that's not because he's been a stud. He hasn't missed a game yet, and he was always the top guy in Pittsburgh. So he'll certainly be involved. I just don't know how involved he'll be towards the back half of the season because at the end of the day, Omarion Hampton is just way more explosive than Najee. And they saw like J.K. Dobbins was the 6th best back in explosive runs last year. And it was a big boost for this offense, which you did not expect that to happen. Hampton's going to be the guy to do that for him this year, not Najee. So although Najee might snake some touchdowns, that's going to piss people off. I still think Hampton is, with this offensive line, set up to go for over 1,000 yards as a rookie.
Yeah, I am still kind of surprised they didn't bring J.K. Dobbins back.
That was interesting. I mean, now he's in Denver, the division rival, and, he's in the thick of things to get that job. So maybe Dobbins' revenge game, when we get into it in the season, it's definitely going to be in my mind for a potential touchdown score parlay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was good. I think he wanted to be back in LA too, but
he rejuvenated his career there.
Yeah, they decided to sign Najee Harris in free agency before they drafted Hampton. So maybe they were like, oh, we're taking a running back for sure. Like, fine. But it's interesting that they wanted to go Najee when Dobbins was in their building and had a ton of success. And from all accounts, a really positive and outgoing guy that was just happy to be back.
He only got like $5 million with Denver. He didn't get much. I think they gave Najee like 10, so paid like double the price.
That is interesting. Who's your DPOY, and why is it Derwin James? Or do you want to go with your pass rusher?
Yeah, I'm going to go with my pass rusher, Mr. Tuli over there, because, I do think he is going to have a big season. I think he's going to be a double-digit sack guy. Actually, I might go sprinkle on that after we get off the podcast, but I do think he's going to be a double-digit guy. I'm excited for it. Like, I already gave my spiel, so I don't need to go too much crazier, but just get it done.
Tuli Tuipulotu. Know the name. Tuli Tuipulotu, double-digit sacks this season after 8.5 last year. Clear-cut starter in this defense. Yeah, I went with Derwin James. I mean, I don't need to get into Derwin James. He's the best player in this defense. He's a former All-Pro. He's a stud. Fantasy football. I mean, we've gotten into it very much. It's Trey Harris for me. I'm just loading up on Trey Harris shares. I'm actually kind of pissed. I took Luther Burden over Trey Harris in a Dynasty league, and it's kind of bothering me. I'm going back and forth a lot on it because I'm really high on Trey Harris. That's a good debate, Reagan. Who would you rather have in Dynasty, Trey Harris or Luther Burden?
No, I would take Trey Harris. Just because, like, looking at, I mean, I don't know, though, because it's like, no, I still think I would.
It's tough, right?
It's tough. You're basically betting, like, Herbert we know is elite already, or, whatever you want to say. We know he's an established quarterback, and he is the future. Wherever you rank him, that's on you. Where Caleb Williams, like, we're not even sure if he's the guy, and we're not sure if Ben Johnson and this whole project's going to work out. So there's a lot more risk baked in. He's also the number 3 where Trey Harris is the 2. And I still think there's a world where Trey Harris can become the 1, where it's like for the Bears, like I'm still higher on Rome. I think a lot of people are writing him off after, a slow rookie season, but I think he's going to have a big year. And, DJ Moore's still there, and he was Caleb's go-to guy last year. So I lean Trey Harris, but then again, it's Dynasty. So it's like, you can't just factor in one or 2 years. You got to be looking long-term.
Yeah, it's really tough, man. I went back and forth. I think Burden has the higher ceiling, but a lot more risk.
Yeah.
But it's good debate.
Yeah, and I mean, for fantasy, I'm obviously, if I don't mind Hampton at all, I would take him. I think Najee's even a guy you should draft. If Hampton misses any time, I mean, he's going to be a clear-cut bell cow. Maybe he won't get all the third down work, but, looking at the other backs on the roster, there's nobody that, makes me nervous or whatnot. So I would definitely take Harris. There's probably weeks where you could flex him. in the tight ends and stuff. I mean, I don't think you really can play either because I think they're going to hurt each other.
I agree.
If one of them misses time, then all right, we're having a different discussion. I like Trey Harris, probably staying away from laddered as value. And like you said with Quinton Johnston, I think he's definitely worth at least taking late and underdog drafts because we saw last year, like there are going to be weeks where he explodes, and then those weekly winners, like he's going to be a nice play. And, in a pinch, you could even flex him in some leagues.
I tell you what, my best underdog draft last year out of like 30,000 people when I came in 200th, Quinton Johnston was a dart throw I had late, which, yeah, he didn't play every week for me. But when he scored touchdowns, he had some decent games where he got in that lineup for me and helped me get to that point as a late dart throw. Him and Wan'Dale Robinson with his volume, those two guys actually paid off big dividends for me taking it the way end of underdog best ball draft. So I'm going back to the well with those two guys because their ADPs are very similar this year.
Well, yeah, I mean that's where you win. That's where you win. It's the late drafts. It's not the early picks. The early picks factor in because if they get injured, you're fucked. But it's the late guys that put you over the top.
100%. Let us know in the comments. Can the Chargers take the crown of the AFC West? Do you agree with me that the Chargers will win it in 2025? Justin Herbert, MVP season loading. I don't hate it, Reagan. Honestly, he might be the leader in the clubhouse for me. I don't know. If I'm projecting him to win this division, Justin Herbert has to have a great season, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to back it up, right?
100%.
Maybe Harbaugh, coach of the year as well.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that either. Jim Harbaugh? It might be John Harbaugh with the Ravens, but who knows? Could be one of the Harbaugh brothers. Let us know. Check out the rest of our mini-series on YouTube now. We've already gotten through the AFC North, the NFC East, and we're working our way through the AFC West. We appreciate you tuning in as always. We'll catch you next time on Around the Felt.